9 things that you wish your realtor would have told you.
In today's episode of Live Life by Design, Jamie and myself, Pablo, we are going to be covering things we wish our agents would have told us.
First off, one of the things is to actually find a good realtor.
This step is super important because working with the right real estate agent or working with the wrong real estate agent can really make or break your real estate interaction.
If they're not knowledgeable at all, it could end up in disaster, right?
Yeah, you could end up with your house not being sold, or worse, you can actually end up getting sued.
If they can't do their due diligence, you can get in trouble.
Yes, if they don't do their due diligence, if they don't ask you the right questions, and they are not going out and confirming all of this information, they can not only get themselves, they can also get you in trouble. The other thing to take into account is this is not like a $25 sale. We're talking about hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. You want to make sure that the person who's representing you is a zealous advocate that's going to make sure that they're taking care of delivering you with top dollar. And you want to make sure that they are there to deliver the best experience possible.
As far as budgeting and talking about money, what are we talking about?
Yes, it's super important to understand, depending on what your budget is, or lack thereof, what your out-of-pocket expenses might be. I almost said otter-pocket expenses. What your otter-pocket expenses might be, because you might have to pay for otters. I'm kidding. Understanding your budget for repairs. Am I going to fix the hole in the living room? Am I willing to fix the cracks in the ceiling? Or do I want to just sell it as is?
So you have the option of being able to sell as is, or you can do minor repairs or major repairs before you sell the home.
Yes, and understanding what that budget is going to help not only you, but also your real estate agent set the proper expectations for what the sale is going to be.
But what happens if people have zero budget, but they want the world when it comes to selling their home?
So there are options. One of the options that we offer with Keller Williams is our Keller Williams concierge service, where we actually finance the cost of the repairs, and you as the seller don't actually have to pay that back until after the close of escrow.
I believe that's also at zero interest to the seller.
Up to 12 months.
Now, with this budget, do we include staging and photography and other little things like that?
Yeah, so when we're talking about out-of-pocket expenses, we're talking about repairs, we're talking about cleaning. A lot of people don't realize how dirty their house gets. So we're talking carpet cleaning, power washing. You want to make sure that curb appeal. So when somebody pulls up to the house, the very first impression that they have of your home is the outside.
Considering curb appeal, we don't want 3-foot high grass.
You don't want 3-foot high grass. You don't want dead grass. If you haven't power washed the exterior of your home, you might want to do that. Clean out the gutters. Keep in mind that the very first impression somebody has of your house is when they're pulling up to it. And we want that first impression, we want the exterior to match the interior.
When you have a home that's freshly renovated, you want the buyer to drive up and go, oh, this is my next house.
You don't want what I want.
You don't want them to be like, oh, good. Oh, no.
Unless it's like Halloween and we're using that as a selling point for your property.
And for those of you that have homes near a cemetery, we can have a little bit of fun with that.
Oh, we definitely can.
Now, another very important thing that we need to cover is decluttering your home.
This is a very important step, though it's very often overlooked. And it's because organizing and decluttering and cleaning out your space can actually take a lot longer than you think it does. Yeah. And it's not until you're actually in the activity and you're in the midst of doing it all that you're like, oh my goodness, I might actually need to hire some help.
Yeah, especially for people who have lived there longer than even 10 years. After a while, you tend to accumulate a ton of stuff. And especially if you are helping your parents out, if they've lived there for 50, 60, 70 years, if they're hoarders, it could be a bad situation.
I mean, I haven't even been in this office for a year, and there's already clutter and stuff that I have to clean out on a regular basis. Hey.
Now, let's talk about the topic of depersonalizing your space. Why do we want to do that and not have your family photos?
So a lot of the clients that we work with are usually in the higher tiers, and privacy and discretion is a must. So when we're representing an NBA player or a football player, we want to make sure that we're not exposing them to potential security threats. So we want to make sure there's no pictures of the family up. We want to make sure that any like medicine that may have been left in the cabinets has been taken away, because you never know who's going to show up. And as much as we try to control who's coming in and out of the house, especially in an open houses, we can't always control everything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, also another side to depersonalizing your space, you do not want anybody to have any kind of bias about your home. The next process after decluttering a home, hire somebody if you need, is to stage it.
And staging, I can't stress the importance of staging a house, Jamie. We have seen in reports historically that when you stage a staged home actually sells 3 to 30 times faster than an unstaged home. Not only that, but we know that when a home is staged, it on average sells for 16% higher than a home that is not staged.
If they're still living in the home, can we still stage the home?
One of the things that we recommend, especially when someone is still living in the home, is we have our style consultant come out and we work with them on maybe integrating some staging pieces with their existing pieces. So that way they can continue to live in the home. The home can still be functional. At the same time, we're showing the home in the best light.
And the whole goal of staging it is so that way the buyers can envision what it's like to live in this home. So we want it nice and sparkly, especially for the photos.
Especially for the photos. And that takes us right next to our next point, which is get professional media taken care of. What we're talking about is photography, videography, aerial footage. Now, not every property is going to require the best in class. At the same time, we always want to provide that to our sellers so that they understand we're looking to sell your home for top dollar. We're trying to maximize your return. We want to make sure that we're always showing your property in the best light.
Yeah. And it's best to get people that really know and understand media and social media, because anybody can take a photo of a home, anybody can take a video. But in order for your home to reach even more people that may not even be in the current market, think international, we have to hop onto social media. We have to figure out ways on how to get the most views. And sometimes that takes a lot of out of the box creativity.
Well, you have to take into account that 95% of buyers are going to see your house online first before they ever see it.
Mm-hmm.
And the only 5% that are going to see it that's not online are your neighbors who have probably already seen your house, at least the outside of it. So we want to make sure that with the professional photography, with the professional videography, we're alluring them into the home, right? So that way they see it online and they're like, oh, I need to call Pablo. I want to go look at this house.
With social media marketing, what we want to achieve is to be able to get people that normally aren't even looking in this area. They're looking over in the Monterey area, but something in the Los Gatos Hills piques their interest because their friend shared it with them. We need to harness the power of social media to get your home the most views and into the right hands of qualified buyers.
You want to work with an agent who is exposing your home to the highest viewers possible. So in working with an agent that understands social media, and working with somebody like us, for example, your home is going to get 15, 16,000 more views a month than if you work with an agent who posts on social media every once in a while or commits the cardinal sin of taking home photos on their cell phone, which we hate.
We've seen a lot of bad photos out there. They're so cringy that it makes you just, I'm not even going that far. They're just so cringy.
They're cringy.
They're cringy.
You need to understand that the way that you're presented online and to the consumer is how you're presenting yourself to the market. So if you have an agent that's taking photos on their cell phone and uploading them sideways, what you're really communicating to the market is that you're not working with a strong agent, that you're open to negotiation. And in fact, there are times when we advise our buyers to look for these types of homes because we know we're going to be able to get a better deal on them.
Low ball. One thing to note is everybody can use social media, but 95% of agents do not know how to use social media properly. And that's very important to note. because anybody can go onto Canva, get a free template, throw their stuff together, throw postcards out, and throw it on social media. But at the same time, are they going out and networking with all these different agents from all these different areas and searching actively for buyers for you on social media as well?
Yeah, it always comes back to purpose and intent. And are they doing social media with the purpose and intent to help you sell your home? Or are they doing it with the purpose and intent to build their following? Another thing that's really important to understand, especially when you're selling your home, is to not constantly move the goalposts. So, Jamie, have you ever been working with a seller that's like, if you bring me an offer for $1 million tomorrow, I'll sell it? And we bring them an offer for $1 million, and they're like, actually, Jamie, I want $1,050,000. Can you go get me $1,050,000?
They're just like this.
And they're just constantly moving the goalposts. And understanding your strategy from the very first time we sit down in our consultation and going through and saying, hey, these are the repairs I'm willing to make. If I do these repairs, I can expect the return on investment of X, knowing that when I sell my home, my range is going to be between this number and this number versus, oh, I'm not going to make any repairs. I'm not going to do anything. And yet I'm still expecting this.
It's setting expectations and telling people the honest truth. You do not want somebody out there that's going to go, I'm going to give you X amount, when we clearly see the market and we know that's not going to happen unless by chance they have a miracle millionaire or billionaire in their pocket.
Yeah. And did you know that it's actually malpractice for an agent to willingly and knowingly take an overpriced listing knowing that it won't sell in the market?
Do we hear that?
Jamie, you were recently featured in Martha Stewart Living for the next point we're going to talk about, which is understanding the hidden costs of selling.
There are a lot of hidden costs while selling, which your agent should go over with you. Most people just think that they're going to throw their home on the market and they're going to get a huge lump sum in a check, but there's a little bit more fine details about that.
Yeah, depending on where you live, you could be in a community where you have an HOA. If you're living in an HOA, you might have move-in fees, you might have move-out fees, you might have a moving truck fee where just having a truck parked outside of the house, you have to pay the HOA. Additional transfer taxes, escrow charges. You want to make sure that you understand what are the real costs, and in sitting with your agent, having them pull out a net sheet on your very first meeting so you know, hey, if we sell at this price, what can I walk away with?
So one of the things that we do is provide 3 net sheets for our clients. So that way you get a realistic view of all the costs associated and what you'll walk away from the sale with at these 3 different price points.
And in addition to that, Jamie, we also include and bake in all of our fees so that you're never going to be surprised on, wait, I thought you, what? Because we know that when it's set up front, it's an expectation. And when it's set after the fact, it becomes an excuse.
One of the things that you're also paying for that you may not know about is you're paying your listing agent, but then at the same time, the listing agent, that percentage is getting paid straight to the buyer's agent.
Anytime you're negotiating a real estate commission on the sales side, you're actually also negotiating the real estate commission for the buyer's agent.
Yeah, and if you're lowering the buyer agent's commission, that may make it a little bit less enticing for some of these buyer agents to want to work with you.
We also provide them with a menu of options on how they want to compensate and work with us. So that way they understand from the very first meeting how much it's going to cost to work with us, how much of those costs are baked in, like staging, inspections, things like that. And depending on the tier and the program that they choose, how those costs are paid for.
Exactly. And this is something that you should actually talk with your agent about. So that way there's transparency. You don't want these hidden costs sneaking up on you because it can be kind of scary during this time where you're very nervous about the market, going through and selling your home, basically uprooting your entire life. You don't want any extra surprises.
No, you don't. People don't mind bad news. People hate surprises. And when you're thinking you're going to be walking away with 500,000 and at the closing table, you find out you're only walking away with 450,000, you're going to be asking, where's that $50,000 that's missing? Where did that go?
Yeah.
And you're not going to be very happy when someone is going back and saying, oh, well, your agent should have explained this to you, and you have this fee and you have that, and blah, blah, blah. And you get caught blindsided. This has been another episode of Live Life by Design with your hosts, Pablo and Jamie.
We are here to answer any of the questions that you have. Drop some stuff in the comment. Maybe we'll cover it in a future video.
For a copy of our home preparation tips, follow the link below, register, and we'll get that out to you.
Like, follow, subscribe, and also find us on Instagram and all the other social media channels.
All of them.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh, so cool. Okay.